Perfect.
There we go. So yeah, we're based in Charleston, West
Yeah,
Virginia.
yes, that's right. So the solar eclipse, is that going through you guys or?
A little bit. We'll get, I guess, 94%
Oh, okay.
uh, coverage. So not totality, but we'll get a good, you
So
know,
so
good
so
chunk of it.
we're getting totality. So I'm at probably one of the best spots for the eclipse. So it's passing right through Niagara Falls.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, it's gonna be a complete shit show here tomorrow on the highway. That's for
Oh,
sure.
I'm sure. I'm sure there's gonna be tons of people there.
Oh yeah, I mean everyone's gonna be driving towards the falls, and my girlfriend's sister-in-law, she's a 911 dispatcher, and they're saying that tomorrow is gonna be probably one of the craziest days they've seen in a very long time.
Oh, I'm sure of that.
Yeah.
I've heard things, but since you're like there, are you hearing like, are they shutting stuff down or like
So
what are they doing?
they actually declared a state of emergency in Niagara Falls, and a lot of it is because of the just the amount of people that are going to head to the falls. I mean, Niagara Falls, it's 20 minutes away from where I live. And the highway always gets packed on the weekends because everyone wants to go see the falls. But this time around, I mean, it's going to be crazy, right? Because the eclipse, I mean, how often does that happen, right? So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's schools are shut down for tomorrow as well. So yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of crazy things happening on the news tomorrow. So
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I guess you could take advantage of it, create some
yeah,
content or something.
right. Okay, so just waited on some peeps. Maybe we
Yeah.
can say something in the oh, I guess you already did jump on in.
Yep. Hey, look, I asked. I said, "Hey, Sundays,
Yeah, right.
where you at?"
Yeah. I think what probably confuses a lot of people is probably just time zones, right? Like we'll say 3:30 EST and then sometimes they'll mess it up on their end. Yes, it's being recorded. Mhm.
So you said you wrapped up your episode three.
Yeah, yeah. So episode three is done and it looks really good. It looks really good. So I'm quite excited to have that launch. So we're probably gonna launch it. I want to say so probably maybe Wednesday, by Wednesday next week, and then we'll probably start running ads on it maybe Friday or Saturday. So we like to let the episode do its thing organically for a few days, and then we'll push ads on it.
Yeah.
But I think this episode is going to be our biggest so far. For the first two episodes, we put $500 total, split across Instagram and Facebook. But I think this time around, I might just increase the dollar amount to at least $600 or $700, something like that. Um, just because I just want this is our strongest episode so far, and I want this one to do really, really well because I think this is going to be the sort of the one that I showcased
Yeah.
moving forward to other prospects essentially. Um, so yeah, we'll see how that goes, and I have two spots left for episode four. So our top three spots were sold out. Our bottom spot was sold out. So now it's just sort of our middle spots that are still available. Um, and yeah, I feel good. I feel like even if I can't necessarily sell those last two spots because we are kind of down to the wire at this point, I'm happy to just sort of give them away So
Oh
for
yeah.
example, one of the businesses in that town is a really good client of ours that we do work for every year. I don't mind just tossing them a freebie at all, right? And
Yeah.
there's another uh, cheese place that sells really good cheeses, so I might just go over. We already talked to them, and they said they just couldn't afford it. So if we're in a tight spot, I'll just barter, right? I'll just say, hey, can you take care of my whole team in exchange for, this free video?
Yeah,
So,
because that kind of stuff can go, in a positive way too. Because once the community starts talking,
yeah,
the friends of that owner is like, man, that was a cool video that you guys are
yeah,
in. They may reach back out to you just because of that fact. It's like,
exactly.
man, people are talking about us a lot. We
Yeah.
want more of that.
Exactly. Yeah, it makes a really, really, really big difference, right? Like when I mean, most of our business has been referral based, and I'm sure that goes for anyone sort of in the space, right? It's a lot of it is run through referrals. So when you do a project for a client, you kind of seal this sort of bond with them in a weird way. Where in the future, if they need video production, they're just going to go to you, or if they know someone that's looking for video, they'll just refer it out, right? So at this point, especially with our top three, our most expensive spots pretty much sold. I mean, I feel totally cool with just giving the other ones for free.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is for episode four, I think we're already making more money compared to episode three, which in my opinion is bigger. But that's because for episode three, we sold our top two spots, but then we couldn't sell our third, fourth, and fifth spot. We sold the bottom slots, the really, really cheap ones. So if you do the math, we're making less money because the episode four, we're selling all of our top tier spots. So
Oh wow.
it's just weird how that works. So I know in the chat I talked about how there was this one company that was looking to buy all 10 spots for
Yeah. Yeah.
episode five. So we still need to organize a meeting with those guys. So it's not 100% confirmed on what's going on. They did express interest that, they wanted all 10 spots, and we did lay out all the details for them so they know what the pricing's like. So there's nothing hidden about what's going on. So we'll see what happens. I mean, if it goes through, great. If it doesn't, I'm not stressing over this stuff too much. I mean, it's not our main income, right? So
No, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Because you can do shopping plazas and
yeah,
things like that since they're already connected. We have some places like that, and that's what we did for one of them.
yeah,
It's like a more of a rich neighborhood, and so like all these businesses, even though they were small, they had a budget for it, and so
sure.
they know each other. They're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, John down the street, he's doing it, so they're going to more than likely say yes because it's more of like this group thing. Especially if you got like the decision maker who owns the building who's
Yeah.
kind of giving you the green light. That probably goes a long way to getting those businesses to confirm with it.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
that makes a huge, huge, huge difference. I mean, for episode one, the thing that helped us a ton is connecting with the local sort of downtown community group. So for us, it's called the BIA. So essentially, that's where all the downtown businesses come together, and I believe they have meetings at least once a month. So once we closed a couple spots with those guys, they had a meeting the following day, and then they started talking to each other. And then I closed three more spots from that meeting because they said, "Oh, there's this cool thing happening in town. We're a part of it. Do you want to join us too?" And they were essentially pitching for me. And a couple of those business owners, they didn't know me, but since it was a referral from someone in their sort of group, it was a really, really easy sale. So I think that's something that I've been recommending is reaching out to those sort of downtown business groups. They sort of have meetings every month where they just talk about the state of the downtown core and how to improve things like I don't know, doing murals and shit in the downtown area, whatever it is.
Yeah,
I know that they're at least meeting once a month, so that's been a huge plus.
no, that's awesome. You were mentioning about like your ads. Are you seeing a pretty big difference when you push your videos through ads? Like
Oh
I'm sure
man,
you
it's
see the
unreal.
analytics.
It's unreal. I 100% recommend everyone to push ads on their series. Like if you're not, it's oh man, there's so much wasted potential. So let's see if I could. So statistically, I think for analytics wise, our first episode, I think it did uh probably I think it did around 30,000 views organically. And then once we put ads on it, it did another 100,000 views.
Oh
Wow.
wow. And just I guess just so that whoever watches the recording or the guys on here, how many followers do you have on your personal, like your business Facebook page?
Oh, it's just like my family. No, I'm just it's not that much. Uh yeah, I'm not an influencer like you here, bro. I've got 872 followers. If
Okay.
you're watching this
Yep.
recording, follow me. Yeah, I've only got 872 followers. So I by no means have a big following. I know one thing that I've seen a lot of in the chat and in comments is, hey, I don't have a big following, so why would this work for me? I've had a few business owners, well, actually only one that said, why would we want to be posted on Geek Collective's social media pages when they don't have a big following themselves? Well, that's not the point, and you don't need a big following to make this work. I mean, you can have 5 followers and you can still make this work. The way the strategy is you're essentially leveraging everyone else's followings that is in the episode. So, Caleb, I don't know if you guys do you guys talk about Instagram collaborations in the course?
Not the collaborations, more of cross posting. Um, the reason for that, they didn't really have, that option when we were really doing city spotlights.
Sure,
But I think the collaboration is definitely a key point. And I took notes from our last meeting,
sure.
how that's even, an upsell, because you're giving them more access and, more opportunities for them, being able to collaborate with you.
Yeah, so I'll talk a little bit more about Instagram collaborations right now for the folks that are in the chat and for the recording. But essentially, when you invite these other business owners as a collaborator, you're sort of pooling all of their followers together into one big pool, and that's all organic engagement, right? Like this is before you're putting money into Facebook ads and Instagram ads or anything like that. So when you post the episode on your profile, that post gets reflected on all of their pages. And the fun thing about this is when the episode itself is getting likes, when it's getting comments, those other business owners are also going to get those notifications. So it's sort of it makes them feel a lot better knowing that, oh man, like we're getting a lot of engagement, we're getting a lot of eyes, and we're getting a bunch of comments. And whenever comments do roll through, those business owners, they start engaging directly with that too. It's not like they have to go check in on a separate page and see what's coming in. I mean, it's just coming in natively. It's as if they posted it themselves. And like Caleb was mentioning, we use that as an upsell, and it's been working very, very, very well for us. So right now for Instagram, you're only allowed 5 collaborators on Instagram, and on Facebook, you're only allowed 1 collaborator, and that's also been a really big upsell for us too. So for our number one spot, when we're selling for our local lens series, we say that well, first of all, you're going to be first in the episode, which is huge, huge, huge value for these business owners. Because the other thing too is these episodes, if they're about 10 minutes each, let's be real here, not everyone is going to watch the whole way through. So if let's say the episode does get 150,000 views and the business has a number one spot, well, that first business pretty much gets all 150,000 views versus let's say if you're number 6, at the very end of the episode, you're not going to get 150,000 views on that spot. You're probably going to get, who knows, like 50,000 views or less.
Yep.
Uh, that's the one big thing that I always stress is depending on which spot you take is when you show up in the video. And then the other thing is the Facebook collaboration. So that's there's only one spot that can get that. And then the top 5 spots get an Instagram collaboration. So if you're doing, let's say if you're selling 10 spots in an episode, I mean, those first 5 spots, that's a different value add. And let's say only the top 3 spots, those have an interview, and then the rest don't have an interview. That's again another value add. And then just to make the number one spot even better, it's that Facebook collaboration.
So what are you charging now for that top spot?
We're charging $2,500 for the number one spot.
Which is kind of crazy when you think about it, because there's filmmakers out there that are charging 2,500 bucks for one client, one video. You're getting that for 1/10 of the video, and so
Exactly.
how much are you making now, like on average, or how much have you made so far doing city spotlights?
So far I'm gonna have to do some math for you, but on average, probably our first 2 episodes, it's been roughly 5.5 to $6,000 per episode for the first two. And then for our third episode, I think is around $6,000 as well. But our fourth episode is going to be about $8,500 for the whole episode.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And when we were creating the course, like that's the goal, get it up to about try to try to get it up to about 10 grand. If you can do
Yeah.
10 grand per episode,
Yeah.
that's very sustainable, especially for a business.
Yeah, that is still the goal is doing 10,000 per month, but I find that we're still every episode we're adjusting our pricing and we're sort
Sure.
of figuring things out. So for example, our very first episode, our number one spot was $1,500. And I remember for the first episode, I sold those spots like the first 6 businesses I talked to, I sold them right away. Like I didn't have an episode to show them because it was the number one. It was the
You're probably
first.
like, what's going on right now?
Yeah, it was nuts. It was crazy. So I didn't get a single no from selling my first episode. I don't know if it was luck or how I pitched it. And when I was talking to these business owners and I saw how quickly they said yes to $1,500, that's when I realized that I was charging too low. I felt like I was charging too low. I feel like you need to get a little bit of resistance, and then
Oh,
you're
absolutely. Yep.
charging too high.
If it's too quick, you're like, oh, I
Yeah,
probably could have charged 25 or 3.
exactly. So then, episode 2, I still kept it the same price as episode 1 because I just wanted to keep that momentum going. Like I didn't want to shift things too crazy right away. So episode 2, I kept things the same as episode 1, and then episode 3 is when I upped the pricing from 1,500 to 2,500, and that was the first spot I sold. So I had 10 spots available. I had 2 spots at $250, and the client still went for the number one spot because they saw value in it. So that's the thing is there's a reason why there's a difference in pricing. You just have to make sure that you can communicate what the difference is.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And for those that are, new to what City Spotlight is, because I know those that are going to watch this recording, some of them are doing City Spotlights, but a lot of them are kind of like not sure. So I just wanted to give a little background, on City Spotlights. So we started our business back in 2015, and kind of the typical path that we saw for filmmakers was weddings and music videos, and we did not like either of those paths. I mean, we did some weddings, but those are way too stressful. Like we did not really enjoy those at all. So for the next 2 years, we got a little bit of client work here and there, and then in around 2017, I noticed like in our area there was news stations, and they were going to all of these small businesses. And I mentioned this in the chat, but they went to every single business, and they basically offered them a free video. So we're thinking, okay, there is absolutely no way we can compete against this. Like
Hmm.
they're just doing it for free and just throwing it up on TV. But then I found out they were charging those businesses spots. So 6 p.m., you're paying a pretty penny.
Yeah.
You want to play it at 10 p.m., you're paying the cheapest pricing. So that got me thinking because right around that time, social media was starting to become more prevalent, especially in our area. And I was like, why not sell spots in a long form commercial and distribute it on social media? And so we use Facebook. That was like our main one at the time. We didn't really do too much with Instagram,
Yeah.
but we used Facebook. And we at the time probably had like 2,000 followers. And so we didn't really have a big following. And then we started seeing, okay, we could do cross posting. We're like, okay, we got something. So we did 13 city spotlights where we kind of just figured it out before we started thinking, okay, what if we made a course where we taught other people how to do this? Because we were like, if we could do this in little old Charleston, West Virginia, with a population of 50,000 people and make the money that we made with it, I was like, there's got to be filmmakers out there that could really use this to really step up the game. And so that's how City Spotlight came to be. I think I mentioned this to you. Now we have about 4,000 enrollments. And it's just nice to be able to see people start to be successful with it. I think you're like probably the one person that's going like so hardcore with it and kind of proven, I think, a point that we try to convey in the course and to other filmmakers. And I think it's something that you have really good sales. Like you have a personality that's really good selling to other people. And so I think me and you have been discussing this, trying to get filmmakers, because some filmmakers are introverts, right? They're a little shy or nervous. So being able to teach them some techniques and some things that they can really help them be better salespeople or just be better people, go inside, talk with them, have a conversation. And you can see just from your experience, and we experience ourselves, but it's one thing coming from us, but when it's coming from someone that's kind of living it and going
Yeah.
through that journey, I think it has a lot more of an impact. It's more believable. It's like, okay, this dude's actually this dude's
Yeah.
actually proven that the concept is working, and it seems like it's taken off for you. So I'm kind of glad you're here, so I can ask you questions. It seems like I'm doing a Q&A for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No worries, man. Yeah, does anyone have any question? I think Michael, I just saw a question from you, bro. I can
Yeah.
answer for you right now. So you said as far as targeting ads, right? So when it comes to targeting, we don't put any we're not specific at all when it comes to our ads as far as like age range or genders or anything like that because our main priority is eyeballs. So the only specific target that we put on is location and area.
Yep.
So for these local businesses, it does not make sense to get a global audience. It doesn't
Oh,
make
absolutely.
or it doesn't even make sense to get like a Canada wide or an American wide audience. So what we've done is we kind of target it to, let's see. So just like a couple cities, a few towns, a few cities over. Because the thing is, all these local businesses, they need local eyes, right?
Yep.
Because those local people, that's where they're getting their sales from, right? So if we're showcasing a small bakery in Toronto, people from the other side of the country in Vancouver, they're not going to buy bread from a bakery in
Yeah.
Toronto. Like, it doesn't make sense. So that's the only requirement that we put in place is the actual location. And it's worked out really well. And does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. It does, because that was one of the things we're just getting ready to. I'm working on the editing right now of our first episode. We landed 7 out of 10. We were hoping for
Oh,
10. I just felt like this was going kind of long. We had some of the first people pay right at the beginning. We filmed right at the beginning, and then we're like, okay, we're not hearing back from people. And then, sure enough, when we're closing up, I mentioned it in the chat. We talked to 3 different people who we had messaged like a couple weeks ago. They all seriously reached out back to me on the same day. They were all interested. and they're like, yeah, we would love to do it next time you guys do it. It
Yeah.
just, I was like, oh man, you know, but we're excited for it. There was a spot you were talking about it earlier before you guys started about using or sometimes offering a free spot, and we decided to do that with a local spot that specifically they feature a lot of local businesses, a lot of little vendors. So it's kind of like a little artisan shop. So it has like I think 15 plus different vendors in there that sell things. And so to me, I was excited about doing that because that was going to be um, a perfect transition to be able to say, hey, we have 15 plus people who can go share the video. So I'm okay that we're not going to get paid from this because they're going to kind of push the video for us.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, you definitely want to be strategic for anything, especially if you're doing it for free. You don't
Yeah.
have to do it for anyone and everyone, but if you can see an
Yeah.
opportunity where it's like, man, if we bring these guys in, they already got some pull or some following, or it might lead to more business. Why not offer it to them for free? Because it might leverage, an opportunity for the future. But I wanted to also speak on like when we did the ads as well. That's all we did was locations. So like 15, maybe a 20-mile radius around the city that we were doing it. But our
Okay.
area specifically, there's a city called Huntington. It's about 45 minutes or an hour. But because I'm from here, I know that people from Huntington come to Charleston quite a bit. So sometimes
Hmm.
I would target areas, maybe Huntington, or maybe a city that's like a little bit closer, but kind of far from Charleston. But I know that those people tend to travel to Charleston for food or just to get out of their town. So if you're familiar with your area, you can think about that, like how are people traveling, and that can help you figure out, location targeting.
Okay. I appreciate that.
Yeah. There's
Yeah, no
one
problem.
quick comment I wanted to make about ads, just to keep in mind. So when it comes to running Facebook and Instagram ads, there's two ways to sort of go about it. One is you are directly making, let's say you're writing an ad and then you're tossing copy or content on the ad and then running it. The other way is if there's already a post on your page, you've already posted a video, it's already a living, breathing thing. It's been out for like 2 or 3 days, and then you push ads on that piece of content.
Mhm.
That is what we do, is what we publish the episode, and then after 2 or 3 days of sort of letting it marinate and getting its organic reach, then we push ads on it, and then afterwards, all the views that piece of content got from ads, it's still going to be reflected on that post on your homepage. So let's say episode one, it did 30,000 views organically. I pushed ads on it. Now it has 130,000 views. If you go to my page, you'll see that it says 130,000 views. The other way of doing it, if you're crafting an ad and then you're tossing the copy on it, when the ad goes and it gets its views and then it eventually it's finished, you're not going to see those views reflected anywhere, right? So you have to push the ads on a piece of content that's already posted on your page. Because the thing is, in the future, when let's say you're pitching your next episode and you're saying, hey, this piece of content with this much amount of engagement, they should be able to go to your page and see it living there with that view count. I hope that makes sense. I feel like I might have confused that quite a bit.
No,
But
that
No,
makes
that
perfect sense. They always
yeah,
ask if you want to boost the post, and this would be the perfect timing to do it. Especially
yeah,
like you said, get the organic reach, and then it also shows the customers and the clients, oh wow, the video's taken off.
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
That's good to clarify that too, because I didn't even think like you could technically run ads two different ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, we would do the same thing, just boost it directly on the post so that you can see all the analytics and all of that. Because if you don't, your clients may not be too happy that you pushed a video that they can't clearly see, and it could cause some
Exactly.
confusion.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's always the thing. I know some people that were kind of they didn't say no, but I guess it basically is a no because they didn't sign on. But they, that's their question, their ROI. They want to be able to see that. And we're convinced after being able to drop this first video, people will be able to actually kind of see, here's what this can do.
Yeah.
And I think Caleb talked about that, hang in there, drop the video. It helps. Some people are just visual. And I know that, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, especially for us when we first started, the concept was we were just figuring it out, see if it would work. And we kind of had that same reaction to our town. It was just like everyone saying yes. And we're like, is something going on? Like, there's no way we figured out something that works.
Mhm.
But once you get one, two, or three, it starts getting around like, okay, this is something that's working. I want to be a part of that. People keep talking. This town's probably like, when are you guys going to do this city or this town? Once you get that hype, and I think you're starting to experience it now, is like it starts becoming easier to get more sales. So once you get to episode 8, episode 9, episode 10, it's going to almost feel a little too easy. Just because you're making a name for yourself, a reputation, you're getting better as a filmmaker. You're getting better making connections with people, especially if you're just being a good person to everyone. That reputation will go pretty far. Like if you're good to work with, you're nice, you're going like the extra mile for the work that you're doing. That's going to carry over for many years. Like we created those city spotlights years ago, and it made an impact by doing that as being like the film people in our town. Like every business
Yeah.
we talk to, they're like, we know we want the best and it's you guys. And sometimes now at this point, they know they can't afford us, but they recognize, if they want the best of the best, they come to us. So hang in there, just keep working at it. And as you grow, you'll realize your reputation as a company, as a filmmaker, especially if you just keep at it and keep doing good work, it's gonna pay off in the long run.
Yeah, and it's well worth encouraging you guys. I have additional lenses, but I actually shoot everything with my iPhone, and I've kind of made my name a name for myself in the culinary scene here in my town, filming fancy culinary dinners, visiting chefs, all these different things. These events I'm a part of. They say, "Hey, can you come film this?" And I'm shooting with my iPhone and lens attachments. We
That's
are going to be
awesome.
transitioning to Panasonic Lumix S52X. I've used that a few times for a few events via rental, but we're going to actually purchase our own in the next week or so here. But I still like pushing it because I have people here in my town asking me, what are you guys filming with? What kind of camera? And then I tell them and they're surprised because I love pushing it as far as the color grading. And some of these lens can kind of lend to a little bit of bokeh if you get everything set up just right. But I want to share that as an encouragement so somebody can go out there, literally do this with their phone. And if you know what you're doing, you have lighting, you're professional, you can make this work.
That's actually really cool that you're using an iPhone, because I think that speaks volumes to the filmmakers that feel like, and I think we've
Yeah.
all been guilty of it at some point, that you think you need to have the best equipment, the best gear.
Mhm.
I got
Oh
to
yeah.
spend thousands of dollars just to even get into filmmaking. But most of us have a phone that shoots video, but it takes, I guess, a little bit of humility to go out there and you say, hey, I can film this, but I'm going to use my phone and I'm going to make it look good regardless. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, we started actually doing these YouTube videos where we're featuring some of the best local restaurants here in our town. And basically, we were doing it for free just to kind of represent and connect with the community. So, in exchange for some food, we'd interview the owners, do all these things, kind of like 30, 40-minute YouTube things, videos. And not a single person would say, "Oh, you showed up with a phone." Everybody was tripping out because I had these lens attachments. They saw I had a softbox. I had all these lights because I originally was going to film myself doing drawing tutorials during the pandemic. And I guess I'm a little too critical, so I didn't start doing that. And this opportunity opened up for us to kind of reach out to some of our community and do some things. And so basically that had transitioned to us doing a little bit more behind the camera because we're connecting with all the chefs and all the culinary scene in our town. but I've not had one person. I know typically if you mention a cell phone or anything like that in a photography group, you'll get eaten alive. But and I did, but then I had a few of the people who were in the group actually reach out to me privately, and they told me, "Hey, you know what?" They said, "I use my phone for so many things, and they own cameras, and I'm not putting down cameras or not saying they don't have their place, because obviously we're going to be transitioning to Panasonic Lumix. But if I let the simple fact that I needed a specific camera just to get started to hold me back, I would have never been able to do these things. Um,
Exactly.
you know,
Exactly. Yep. You'd be missing out
so
big time.
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
it's definitely possible.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. But what's funny is like like pretty much I would say almost 100% of like our behind the scenes content, our pictures that we post is literally shot on an iPhone. The only time we're showing like our film stuff is like final results. Like that's the only time that we're really using our high end cameras. You can get a lot done with your phone as long as you know how to use it,
Yeah.
understand lighting, audio. Seems like you're working on color grading, so you understand the concepts. You're just using the tools that you have, so that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, good stuff. I'm super excited to see that episode, Michael, when it's done. So do you have like a timeline of when you think it's going to be published?
Hopefully in the next couple days. That's the goal, because I realize me and my other buddy I was filming this with, we want to be able to get an intro. And in all these times we've been meeting up this week, we did not do that. So we, nothing too long-winded, but just a little something, just kind of, introducing ourselves, introducing the spotlight, and being able to highlight that. So I'd like to say Tuesday or Wednesday. The other thing is from my research, what I've seen is if I can, coordinate it with everybody who's involved, if they can all start sharing it, liking it around the same time organically, that'll allow the post to get recognized by the algorithm.
Mm.
So I want to make sure that it's at a time that they're available, a time that we can all kind of know that this can get the traction I'm hoping it's going to get.
Yeah. Good stuff. Jerome, I know you have your hand up, but I just wanted to make a quick comment about Michael's stuff here. So one really big piece of advice that we've been using is sharing the episode to local Facebook groups. So if you go on Facebook and you find, like, let's say for us, every single town, every single community, they will have their own Facebook group where there's just a bunch of moms complaining about, kids in their neighborhood, whatever it is, right? So it just common stuff. So share that episode in those groups, and that will give you an insane amount of organic engagement. And that's also another way of just sort of building a name for yourself locally. So that's what we've done for the past few episodes. It's done great, and that's what we're going to continue to do moving forward. The past two episodes, we found a really big local Facebook group, and we talked to the admin directly, and then the admin of the group shared it on our behalf. And when the admin of the group shares it, it has a little bit more credibility as well.
Yeah,
So just some tips for you there.
I
And
appreciate
and
that,
and
man.
and something that we noticed, even if there is more, let's just say there's more than one group for that city. Say it's Charleston Facebook group, and that's where they post events. I actually created my own.
Yeah.
And there's like literally thousands of people in it. So I'm like the admin of this Charleston events page. It looks like official, but it's kind of an easy way to like, okay, any of our content, I could share it on there, but you're also supporting other people, right? Other businesses will come in, you can kind of control what's coming in there. So if there is a need, you can also fill that need. Or if you feel like, okay, there's something missing here, I can add more to it, create your own your own group if you want to.
So Caleb, it's
I
funny you
like
bring
that.
that up because we created a local Facebook group called Beamsville Community Hub for a local real estate agent. And I knew for a fact that this thing was going to blow up because I had my graphic designer create a beautiful logo, a great banner, like it looked official. And we created this group for him. And within a couple months, it's at 4,500 followers. And it's a living, breathing thing on its own. And I'm like, damn, why didn't we do that for ourselves? We just built a platform for someone else when we could have had it for ourselves. And if you have a group like that, I mean, there's like infinite possibilities of how you can leverage that for marketing. But
Oh
it's
yeah,
funny you
you're
brought that up.
eliminating the gatekeeper
Exactly.
because sometimes the admin may not want to do it for whatever reason,
Yeah.
especially in smaller towns like our town. I would say that the filmmakers are very competitive. So they're unfortunately here we don't have like a creative hub
Mm,
like some cities have, like other cities, and I've heard it. Other filmmakers get together and they will work on a project together. Someone will DP, someone will be an audio guy, someone will be lighting. Here, there is none of that. It's like no one wants to work together at all. Like anytime we've worked together with someone, it's because they used to work for us.
oh
And
wow.
so we already have like a good relationship with them. Everyone else, it's very, very competitive. Definitely different here in this town.
Wow. Come to Canada, Caleb. We'll fix that.
I get jealous when I see these other cities and I'm like, all these filmmakers get these do these meetups. I'm like, if we did a meetup here, it'd be like no one.
Oh, wow. That's unfortunate.
Yeah. I think Jerome, did you have a question for us? I just saw your hand up there.
You're muted, Jerome. We can't hear you.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so my name is Jerome Ringi Eko. I'm from Cross River State, Nigeria, actually in Calabar, precise. So I'm into filmmaking. I'm new into the filmmaking aspect, and it's a passion for me. And the challenges of having good gear and the rest, it's really just hard. But I have this passion for filmmaking. So if you check on my IG, I try to do something with my spare time. So yesterday, I was just scrolling through the IG and I saw your handle and some jobs. So I had to like and then I comment and I saw the invitation to join the group today. And then luckily for me, I had some data. And then when I came, I saw the link to the Zoom. So I had to join up. So well, I'm happy to be among you people. I know you guys are big people, you're better in the filmmaking. For me, I'm just starting. So I look up to you and get inspiration from you. And I know I would do better learning from you all. So that's just all I just have to say. Yeah.
No,
Well,
that's
even I'm
awesome.
lost in the meeting. I don't really know much about what you're talking, but I just listening. I think I'm kind of learning something. Yes.
Well, that's awesome. Well, welcome to the group and glad we connected. And hey, we all were there at one time, back in 2014, 2015, just starting, trying to figure things out. The important thing is be like a sponge, right? Just gather all this information, learn as much as you can, as fast as you can, try to enjoy the process, and in time you'll get better. And it will take some time, right? We're not going to be the best filmmaker in a day or 2 days, but over time, maybe a couple of years, you'll be really, really good at your craft. You just got to stick with it, develop. I always say this, like try to be a good person to people, make connections with people, but also don't lose that joy, right? Because business can make you lose that joy. So try to maintain that balance too. And then, yeah, just stick with it, be patient with it, and in time you'll get there.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. All right.
Daniel, what's up?
Going on? I thought not a question of mine, but a major question I saw in the group was people like basically asking about how to do sales. I think I talked to Caleb about it via DM, just having a conversation with people about how to basically pitch the sale and therefore talk about providing value. So I think that's something that you guys could talk about a bit in terms of the conversations you have. I'm familiar with because I work for Yoke and I had to do the same exact conversation, talk to small business owners like, why do I need to use Yoke? Why do I need to advertise with you guys when I get word of mouth. So I think that's a valuable conversation that like have with people in terms of like some of the approaches that you guys take.
Right. Could you ask me a specific question that I can
Okay,
answer?
so specifically, if you come in with your pitch and it's like, I'm doing this film with this community, want to get you aboard, like, why do I need to use you guys? I could just make my own videos, or I can just have somebody else do it for cheaper. In terms of it's the conversation of why do I need to use you when I can do it myself, versus explaining to them the value of why me doing it for you is more valuable to you than you trying to do it yourself.
Right. So, I mean, what we're pitching here is it's a unique proposal. I mean, what we're essentially doing is we're filming a collaboration video with a bunch of businesses in the surrounding local area. So, I mean, the business owner that you're talking to, they can do something like that if they want. They can talk to all their other business owner buddies in the community and create something like this, but that would take an enormous amount of time. It's probably not going to turn out very good. They don't have the strategy in place to distribute it, and it would just be a huge pain in the butt. So when I'm pitching, if a business, the other thing too is if they really don't want to work with us, I mean, for us personally, we're very, very easygoing when it comes to sales. Like, I do not push a sale on anyone. The most that we will do is we will follow up a couple times. And we've closed some sales like that because people are busy, right? I mean, emails go through an inbox and folks forget about it, or I mean, we're business owners. We get busy all the time too, right? So I get it. So we do a couple follow-ups, but if let's say someone is super just not interested, we don't push. We just move on to the next business.
Yeah, I think the thing
Yeah.
was about overcoming objections. Like I had a conversation with somebody else about it. They just didn't know how to overcome objections. Now I think the thing was like you can't get anybody to buy something that doesn't want to buy it. Like that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Most you can do
Mhm.
is explain value and why it's valuable because most business owners are not going to do it themselves. Like I've literally seen a person talk about doing ads. They didn't have their Yelp page for like a good 6 months before I talked to them again. Then it was like, oh yeah, I guess I do see why it's basically explaining value to the for the most part for most conversations and speaking to their objection about why speaking to the objection in terms of okay, you haven't done this. Why have you done this before? Well, business is going good. It can always go better. Why not take advantage of an opportunity to do something like that? So
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you. Yeah. Video, it's funny. Something like video production, it is a very high ticket item, right? I mean, whenever I'm networking and I'm doing sales, it's one of those things where you can't really it's hard to go like door knocking and trying to pitch a $10,000 commercial for a business when they're not looking for it, right? Like that is not realistic. So our approach has always been to network and meet a lot, like as many people as possible. And in the future, if they are looking for video production services, we're top of mind and then they'll work with us. The thing about local lens is something like this is a lot easier for us to go door to door and pitch because it's significantly cheaper. It's significantly cheaper of a product compared to if we were doing a one-off service. So for example, if we're doing a one-off commercial for a business and it's $10,000, $15,000, I mean, if you go through our local lens pricing, we're starting at $500 and it's $800, 1,000, it's so on and so forth. So it's a lot less risk for the business owner. And it's also a one-time offer, right? This is not something that we're going to do over and over and over again in that town and community. Well, we have 6 spots. We're going to be filming this next month. And this is significantly cheaper compared to if you were to hire us on a separate occasion. And you're going to be collaborating with all these businesses. So there's going to be an insane organic engagement piece to it, as well as we're also going to be handling all the distribution. So there's all these different aspects about City Spotlight that is very different compared to if a business was to hire you on a separate occasion or if they were to do it themselves.
completely agree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
and I think a lot of what people are probably they're probably a little skeptical, right, about city spotlight. And it could be coming from a place of maybe not a whole lot of experience with it. And so I get it. It's like, why would someone do that if they could do it themselves or they could do it cheaper? I think what needs to happen is that you need practice, right? Just with anything. Don't be afraid of the no. Get the experience, get in there, start talking with people. Sometimes I think it's human nature, right? We think maybe the negative outcome, but you might be surprised when you go in there. Business owners, when they're dealing with the public, they're going to be more nicer than what you think, or right, their business probably wouldn't be doing too well. But if they're an established business, they're going to be respectful. If they see a young guy coming in, he's also trying to do something, right, he's trying to start a business for himself, they're going to respect that. So you might be surprised, like especially with a lot of people who are unsure about the responses on it. You might also be surprised when you go in there, the response is actually really good. And I've seen that from a lot of people doing city spotlights. They're surprised that everyone's saying yes. They're very rarely getting some no's. And when the no's happen, it's actually not that bad. The business owner and just throwing them out the business and, worst case scenario, but it actually ends up being, a good experience. You're learning from it. Maybe they said something that you're like, okay, I understand why they said no. So now the next time I can make sure I hit that pain point, right, that they're concerned about. That way you just get better and better over time. I just think you need more practice. The people that are a little skeptical about it, you got to get your hands dirty, right? Get out there and just get used to it. Get those no's. Because behind those no's will be some yeses.
And I would just say the first no you get, don't just walk away from it. Okay, you get a no, but I always ask like, okay, can I ask why you said no to it? They may give you a reason that you could actually overcome that's not like a actual real sticking point. It's just that, again, they don't understand the value of it. So the first no you get, don't just walk away from it. Like typically when you hear people hear no, like, oh, okay. I was super introverted doing this. So I was just like, no, okay. But like, don't just hear the no and just immediately walk away. Just say, okay, can I ask you why you said no? They may give you an answer, a response that you actually have a response to overcome it, to kind of push back against that no. They have to think about it a bit more. So
yeah, and it might actually be a reasonable response. What if it was they're going through a hard time this month, but maybe next month? So if you're able to just, okay, I'm so sorry. Maybe this was too busy. Maybe I can come back next month and maybe we can talk about it then. Oh yeah, that might be better. Right now it's kind of busy. Maybe they were just not in the right frame of mind, but you catch them at a better time frame where things aren't just overwhelming for them and they're more willing to hear you out. As long as, and so I always keep saying, like, just work on, having conversations with people and understanding maybe there's more to it. They might say, no, not right now. Okay, is there any other time? Like, I've been really interested in your business and this. It seems like you guys are doing really well. Like, what's your secret? And now you start creating more conversation to where they might say yes later on. That's kind of my thoughts on them.
I have a few examples to share along like regarding that. So for episode 4, there is a new bakery that's opening up in the town that we're going to be shooting for episode 4. And these guys are currently renovating. So it's a brand new business that's being set up. And they said that they were going to be done renovations mid-April. But when I had a conversation with them, they said that it's probably going to be late April to early May. So when we were talking about Local Lens, they said they were super interested, but they don't think that they're going to be able to do it because of the timing. So that's when we came up with the idea of, well, we're doing 2 days of shooting total for the episode. We're shooting a handful of businesses on day 1 and a handful of businesses on day 2. We can do a bunch of businesses mid-April, and then we can just do you guys early May. And they were cool with that. So we haven't closed them, but it's also just providing options and solutions. Yeah, you really have to figure out when someone says no, you kind of need to gauge on the spot whether it's something that you think you should keep pushing or if you should just let it go completely. Because there are some times where you can just tell from body language and the way that they're talking, where if they say no, it's like, just get out of there, just go somewhere. But If it's no, as in they're like not sure, then you can start asking questions like, okay, what what are your concerns? What can we deal with over here? And then after that, you can sort of turn that around. And we've been able to turn around some no's to yeses with our previous episodes, which has been great. But again, it really just depends on the person.
Yeah,
Hey,
if you're
Daniel.
getting someone that's like trying to nickel and dime and trying to find all the
No,
ways to make it cheap, I can almost guarantee you if you force yourself to work with them and you are like willing to keep adjusting, it's going to be probably one of the most stressful times that you'll have to deal with that client the entire time. We've had that experience before where someone just like wants to know all these little details, trying to cut corners, trying to do this, make it as cheap as possible. It just creates a headache. And now you're wasting all that time and energy when you could have used it for clients that are just saying, "Oh, yep, sure," and you're good.
yeah,
It can save you a lot of headache. Just try to read the room. I think most people are going to be nice and respectful and they're genuine about it. But if you run into those people that are a little more intense or hardcore, and you don't see yourself really working with them, you might just it's okay to walk away from it.
I think, I think most filmmakers, if you never had that moment, it's a learning moment. I did that recently for a friend of mine. She asked me how much to do a video. Did this project about $10,000 to $12,000. I'm just starting up. I can't afford it. You my friend. Okay, I can do it for I'll do it for two. Let me just handle everything. They need to be in control of everything from the talent that they hire to for the project. So they don't like this. The worst project I've ever done. I just didn't hire a crew. I don't want this. I don't want that. Just do it real quick. Looked at the product. I know a product. I'm like, that's not a good quality video. Okay, that's fine. Don't do it. That's the biggest advice. Anytime you feel like there's like a reason you don't want to do it, don't do a project that's like not where the value isn't there. You know it's going to be a problem. Just avoid it.
yeah,
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 what else?
and oh, good, good.
I was just going to throw in there one of the objections that we sometimes would hear is sometimes some people were talking about, well, we already have a, social media person who does all the stuff on social media. And my response to that was, well, they're working hard to make sure that algorithms reading your specific target audience, your specific niche. I said the advantage with being a part of the city spotlight or city pulse, my my case is that you would also get a whole different audience based on every other person who's a part of the video. Their audiences are going to get exposed to you. And so a lot of times you don't reach these audience through social media because of the way the algorithm works.
Yeah.
And some people were coming around to that. I think personally that's been a pretty strong point to point that out because most people kind of say, well, I already have my social media person and they're doing that, we're paying them, so why would we do something with you?
Right. And that you do right. You can keep your social media person, but I'm not doing your social media. I'm doing a project
Exactly.
quickly where you can always reuse this content with your social media to constantly project it. So you're still adding value to what the social media manager does. You're not taking over their job or anything like that. Just adding additional value to what they already do. Plus, and like you said, contributing, collaborating with all these other businesses, you get extra views from their businesses. They may not have a social media manager, so so it's a win-win for everybody involved with it.
Yeah, and it comes down to education, right? If you're understanding of a social media person that's on their team and content, the difference, and being able to articulate that to the business owner, you'll be able to get over those objections. And a lot of it just comes down to, this is not their world, right? That's why they hired it out.
Mhm.
So if you're able to educate them on, you're not taking over their position, but you're adding more content for that social media person to be more effective at their job so that they can get more eyeballs on your business. Or, oh, okay, that makes sense. Just understanding the product, understanding what you're actually selling, can help you to overcome some of those objections.
yeah. Yep. Cool. Any other questions and or topics that we want to cover here?
Hey, Geet, how long did you guys do your, what was the length for your guys's targeting ads?
Good question. The first two episodes was about 10 days, I believe. Yeah. So we're kind of aiming around 2 weeks-ish. So what we've been doing is we've been posting the first two episodes we posted near the end of the month. mid to later in the month, and then we just post it till we just let ads run to the very end. And again, we split $250 between Instagram. Well, we put 250 on Instagram, 250 on Facebook. And the other thing is, so I know Caleb, you guys talk about as for an upsell, you can cut out the specific spots, then hand them over for an upsell. We don't do that as an upsell. We just like give them their slice of the video because we've had that question quite a few times of uh, do we get our piece of the video? And it's a lot easier, I find, to just say, yes, you do. And it's easier for my editor to just go in and out and then export. So we don't offer that as an upsell. But what we do is we don't give the business owners their slice of the video till the episode has run its course and the ads have stopped running. And the reason for that is because we want to encourage the business owners to share the episode and to engage with the episode instead of we post the episode, we hand all the business owners their videos, and then they post their piece of the video, and then they stop engaging with the main episode.
Yeah.
Right. So, because if they stop, commenting, sharing the main episode, then it's sort of, the episode doesn't do as well for everyone else, right? So we've told all the businesses that we'll give you your slice of local lens 2 weeks after the episode's been posted.
Now, what if they wanted like personalized voiceover or something in addition to their video? Would you consider maybe upcharging for that?
Yeah, probably. I would say so. Now that's a very interesting thing that you brought up because I didn't think about that. So for our what we've done for episodes 2 and what we've done for episode 3 is I know that right now the layout is the first, let's say 3 or 4 spots include an interview and then the other spots do not include an interview. Well, that gets real awkward when you're watching the episode because you hear all this dialogue in the first half of the episode and then the later half of the episode, it's just music and there's no talking and it seems really odd. So what we've been doing is for the start of, the later half of the spots, we'll say a couple sentences. We'll just do a quick little voiceover about what the business is and what they offer. So for episode 3, for specifically spot number 5, a real estate agent sponsored that spot. And in return, they are the ones that did the voiceover and they are featured alongside us on camera. And it also says sponsored by Jared Brandon Real Estate. So that's an extra cool thing that you can do there is if the business that you're featuring cannot afford a spot, and let's say there's another business like a real estate agent or some other manufacturing plant that would be
Insurance agents.
insurance agent, anything like that, they can sponsor that spot. So then they're still involved in the episode. And I mean, they get these extra benefits. So
Yeah, you can tell like there's flexibility in it, right? You got the template of what a city spotlight is.
yeah,
As you develop as a business owner, as you start to see different things, your own creative spin on it, you can start, spinning off different opportunities from it.
yeah.
I think that's kind of the beauty of it all.
Yeah, exactly. We're really trying to grow. And like every single episode, we want to just change something and make it a little bit better and add something else to it. I really sort of want these episodes to look like a TV show instead
Yeah.
of just like back to back brand message videos that look like they were just stitched together. I want to have this element of, hey, there's this Geek Collective team, and we've thought about parts where I'm on camera and I'm actually talking about, let's say, the area, providing some facts or some history about the area where we're producing the episode. So it's not just, the focus on the businesses, but it's also, in this area at this year, there was this great big thing that happened, so on and so forth. So there's a little bit of more of that TV show sort of element. So we're going to start iterating on this, or we've been iterating on this in the past few episodes. And I know that we had this crazy episode of having a local lens car where the number one spot, they would have their logo on this local lens truck. And we would essentially feature this truck in every episode. And whenever, again, someone gets the number one spot, their logo would be displayed on the truck. So it's just a cool little thing that we've been thinking about. Has it come? Has it actually amounted to anything yet? No. Will it? Who knows? I think it'll be interesting if it does. And I get to write off all the card payments, so not bad.
Yeah. Well, you bring up a good point, because if you have the personality for it, in our city spotlights, we basically were trying to like be the host of the spotlight. You could almost take that into a different direction and start developing, a personal brand. Now you're really attaching yourself to City Spotlight or Local Lens or whatever it might be. Like you're the guy, you're like the Guy Fury or whoever it is.
Yeah.
You're you're the main guy, and now that almost could build up more value. If you're the guy, like now no one can replicate it in your area because they're not you. Now, if you want to be a part of it, it starts. You can start charging more because of that, because your personal brand.
Yeah.
You're that guy that's like hosting it. They know that you're going to do a good job.
Yeah.
Definitely a direction that you can go with it.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I think our biggest we've tried to do that in previous episodes, but our biggest problem was actually timing. Because, especially when we're shooting 5 businesses in a single day, like that's a lot. And we set up, we shoot, we wrap, and then we're just gunning it straight to the next location. And we just haven't had time to add sort of that component of being on camera. So I think we just need to be better at time management. Maybe instead of doing 5, we'll shoot 3 businesses, and then we'll just sort of split it up between the 2 days, and then we can have more time to do that. But yeah.
Quick question: when you shooting your videos, do you stack? How do you stage it? Do you all the videos that have interviews? Do you shoot them all on the same day, then shoot the other ones the next day, or how do you stagger your shooting?
Yeah, so we like to do, so for example, for the last episode that we did, it was 6 spots total. We shot four businesses in one day and then 2 businesses in another day. That's how scheduling worked best for those guys. And what we like to do is we don't want all the interview spots to be on one day, because when we're doing an interview spot, that generally takes a lot longer to do because there's that whole interview component. So for example, if you're doing 10 spots total, and then out of the 10 spots, 4 of them are interviews, if you end up doing 4 interviews in a single day, you're not going to make it. Like, I don't think you're going to make it. That's too much of a workload. So what I would do is do 2 interview spots one day and then do the other 2 on a separate day. My fucking reaction. And then you just do 50-50 like that. And then that'll work out just fine, because again, when it comes to equipment and all that, I mean, I'm working with my crew. I have 5 or 6 guys that I roll with, and it's still like we're on time, but it's pretty tight when you're doing that many in a single day.
Now, if you want to shorten your time, and we do this for our current clients, because some of our clients, they want to do interviews, and we're like, oh boy, here we go. We're gonna have to cut down a 15-minute interview down to a 60-second. That's a lot of work. So sometimes what we've done with clients, and you could do this with City Spotlights, either give them the questions ahead of time and then prompt them to say, okay, your responses need to be like 1 to 2 sentences, or you actually help them script a response for the whole video. So it's like, okay, they're going to get 30 seconds worth. So I need to make the verbiage maybe about 20 seconds and help them formulate that, so that when you show up on set, all you got to do is set up, what looks like an interview, but they've already got it in their minds about what they're going to say, or have like a little cheap teleprompter where they just read the words that they've already agreed on. Now you can cut some of that time, right? Now it's just, your editing time's going to be quicker. It's an approved script. They didn't really have any mess ups. You're going to cut down a lot of time if you do that. But if you just doing like, All right, I'm going to ask you some questions about your business, and you just let them kind of go with it. You might create a lot more work on your end.
Yeah. For us personally, we yeah, the whole scripting thing, I find it has pros and cons. We shoot a crap ton of interviews, and I find that, I mean, it depends on the client. If you're doing corporate, then of course they want to have everything, every single word
Yes,
worked out
I
really.
hate it.
I know it's brutal, man. Corporate is, it pays the bills, but man,
Yeah.
but there's times where, when they're trying to remember word for word what they wrote down, and it turns into a huge mess because they're trying to remember what they said and go off of that internal script, and they mess up one word, like they said "and" instead of "if," and then they just break down. So for something like that, of course, a teleprompter would work great, but we usually just grab the script out of their hands, rip it up, and then toss it, and we just say, talk to us like we're a friend, just internalize, just kind of figure out, like, best what it is that you want to talk about. So just say it to me as if I'm a friend of yours. And then from that, they just naturally, and it'll just look better on camera too, right? Because if you're reading a teleprompter, if you don't know how to read a teleprompter properly, you just look like a robot, right?
Oh yeah,
But
you definitely have to coach them. Like, all
yeah,
right, a little more smiles, a little more genuine.
I
Use some
know
hand gestures.
that's actually something. So for the episode that we're gonna release next week, the one interview, she was super sick. And now that we're watching the video back, you can kind of tell that she's just like not feeling it. So I'm like, I'm gonna have to use a deep fake or something to just like add some creases. But yeah, interviews. It's that's always fun stuff.
Oh yeah, and like a little side tip too, if you do, this is for anyone, if you're doing interviews where the client wants you to do, I like our last project, I had a 45-minute interview, and that was part of like 10 other interviews. I was like, this is going to be way too much work to try to condense these videos down to like 5 minutes and make a cohesive story. So sometimes we'll ask the client, since they know the people more, what the project is about, the business itself, the history. We've had them actually timestamp the important parts of the interview, send us the timestamps, and we just cut out those sections that they want in the actual final video.
Oh, that's a good tip.
Yeah. Yep. So if you ever want to not sit down for hours on end and look at an interview and try to make sense of what you're watching to make a cohesive story, maybe suggest a timestamp. And then we're like, oh, you just try and get out of work. So, it depends on the relationship you have with your client.
Or
Because like,
or you just
no, we just want to make a better story. You guys know what's best, and we just want to make sure it's going to flow the best way possible.
right, or you could just hire an editor and just not even look at it.
You could do that. Yep, we've done that. Subcontract, as an editor that you trust.
Yeah,
Let them sit down for hours on end reviewing
yeah,
the interviews.
there you go. Yeah, that's what we do. Okay. So how are we looking on time? I know that I don't know how long you allotted for this, Caleb, but
We're definitely over time. I was planning for 4:30. So, you got any other last things that you wanted to share? Wait, you said you had a city spotlight that you wanted to. How long is it?
it's 10 minutes.
Oh, 10 minutes.
10 minutes. So either you guys can just follow my socials and then see it on Wednesday or Tuesday. Actually, you know what? Let's do that. Instead of because sharing screen on a Zoom, it's gonna look like crap, and that's not a good first watch.
Yeah. It's like, did you shoot
Follow,
that with pixels?
yeah, right.
Very pixelated.
Yeah, so just follow us on Geek Collective on Instagram and Facebook, and then we should be uploading that Tuesday or Wednesday. I'll toss that in the group chat, obviously, when it's out. I think it's our best episode yet. I'm really, really, really happy with how it's come out. So yeah, I'll let you guys know when it's out. But hopefully around Wednesday it should be out.
Awesome. And same for you, Michael. Definitely keep us updated on, when you're posting it. We'll definitely take a look at it, share it with other people. Seeing the work from you guys, it speaks volumes. It's not not only helping us, but it's helping the whole community. You know, they're able to see that you can shoot it with an iPhone, or you can not have that many followers and still be very successful with it, and develop as a filmmaker. So definitely share, you know, all the successes that you guys are having.
You know what now, Caleb? I'm gonna get a bunch of bot accounts to follow my page just to screw with you. Damn, this guy got 2 million followers from what?
It's like, dang, just from a Zoom call?
Yeah, right? Yeah, that's funny. Cool. All right. Well, any last comments, questions from anyone else in the room here before we end it off?
Yeah, please, can I actually say something as well?
Sure.
Okay, so I have just one problem in my area. You know, when you approach someone or someone get to chat you up to say, okay, maybe Jerome, I would like you to do something for me, or do a shoot for me, and then you give them the analysis. They want to say, what's the experience? You know, let me kind of see some of the previous jobs you've done. And then maybe because you've not really worked with bigger companies or bigger people, they tend to turn you down. So I feel very bad about that. And it has really made me to lose a whole lot of small jobs. And, you know, and I wanted to use that privilege to say, okay, if you guys, you know, of any internship, maybe program I can do, I can enroll in. They can help me probably boost my portfolio so I can be able to present something to my clients or friends or people. You know, it's really hard out here for me because that's my biggest challenge. Though they want to see, oh, who've you worked with, you know, stuff like that. It's really hard. So how can I go about that? Is there any internship I can enroll for that can maybe help boost my portfolio or something?
So this is actually something that this is the exact conversation I had yesterday. I was actually teaching a high school class yesterday, a workshop about the film industry. So that was fun. But a question I got was exactly that, was how to build a portfolio and how to get started into the field. What I recommend is, well, obviously you want to make spec work, right, to build a portfolio. But I know, let's say for an example, you'll see folks doing a spec Coca-Cola commercial, right? Like they'll get a can of Coke, they'll make a commercial, and then they'll put it on the portfolio. What I think is a better idea is, why don't you go to a local business and you do a free project for them? So now you literally have a client, you have client experience because you're dealing with someone. When you create the product and you send it out, as long as it's good, they're going to be using it. So then when somebody approaches you and they ask, hey, which clients have you worked with? You can literally say, hey, this big, let's say, brewery in town, this restaurant in town, I've worked with these guys. And you don't need to say that you did it for free, right? You still provided a service, you still provided a product, and they're using it. So I always recommend doing that instead of, let's say, doing a commercial for Nike, right? When you're starting out, like Nike is not going to hire you to shoot a commercial for shoes. But if you get, let's say, a local shoe brand that is just starting out, you can say, hey, I'm just starting out. I want to build a portfolio. I would like to shoot you this thing at no cost at all. And for them, it's zero risk because they're not paying you for anything. And now you have this experience both in creating the video itself and also dealing with a client.
Yeah, sorry, just to cut in there. This Stefan from Blue Motion just came in halfway through.
Oh, the Irish guy.
I'm the Irish guy, yeah.
Perfect.
Mystery Irish guy, yeah, that's me. So that's how I started as well. Like I started about a year and a half ago. I'm 19, so legality issues were probably something that so I wasn't 18 at the time, but that's how I started out. The whole thing though is like the bad thing about that is the respect. When you say you're doing something for free, they're not quick to respond to you as if you were to do a paid project. So that's something to bear in mind. But once you do start off with that first project for free, leverage the shit out of it. Excuse my French, but you know, you want to like outreach to as much businesses as possible with that free content that you've produced, and then switch to paid as soon as possible, because that demands respect as well. When you send that invoice, you act as a proper business. And that's something that I kind of struggled with at the start. And then someone said, why are you doing it for free? Because I kept doing it for free. So as soon as you do the free content, move on to paid as soon as possible. Once you have that small portfolio.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for the comment. I think the whole conversation about free, that's always a very interesting conversation. So when I first started out, I did a lot of free work just to build a portfolio. And those clients that I did free work for, that's turned into paid projects I've made so much money from those clients alone. I think it's when you're approaching these clients where you're trying to do free work, I think it's really how you carry yourself. I know that this whole conversation about respect, it really is how you communicate, how you carry yourself, how you're actually talking. If you're looking really desperate and saying, "Hey, can I just shoot you this free video?" and just like your tone, it all makes a really, really big difference as far as how much respect that you're going to get from the other person. But it's free to fee. I know that's a big saying. Um, I The other thing about portfolios is I find that I won't do free work unless I know that it's going to be a huge impact to my portfolio. So, for example, if I've already done a bunch of live events and I've built that portfolio out, I'm not going to shoot another one for free because I already have 3 or 4 live event videos in my portfolio. Same thing for product videos. Like if I have 2 or 3 whiskey commercials that I've done for free, why should I do another one for free when you can clearly see my skill set based on the previous work that I've done? So again, my biggest advice to you is go to your local businesses and pitch this idea to them that you want to create this free this project, and say, hey, I would like to give you this one for free, and if you enjoy, or if you see the value in it, maybe we can do some paid work moving forward.
Also, I
And
would just
Jerome,
speak to a mentality thing. Even though you're starting out, you say they may question the quality of it. You may not like it, but I did projects where I thought they was shit completely. It was like, I love the video, so don't necessarily overthink how it looks when they're first talking about the project. You may think it's shit, but they may love it. Like a project you've done in the past, you may think it's shit, but the client may like, I love this project, you did capture everything well. So don't overthink the fact that you can't provide them with quality work just because you may question your abilities or whatnot. They may still love the project, so don't overthink that aspect of it.
And Jerome, I would
Okay.
also point out that you should also take advantage of the fact that there's people that you know. Utilize those people. They have businesses. They know people who have businesses. Reach out to those people because they'll be more apt to let you do some free stuff for them.
Okay. Some solid advice.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I would elaborate on it more, but you guys covered it nicely. But don't look down on free work. When we first started, our competitors who have been around for 10, 20 years, they actually looked down on us for doing free work. But we were young, didn't know what we were doing, but that was the only way that we can get our foot in the door. Do the free work, get that experience of interacting with a client, meeting deliverables. You're going to learn a lot more from doing that free work than just sitting on your hands hoping that you're going to get some paid work, because that's just how business works. You got to get some things under your belt and just start developing over time so that you can start getting that paid work. And I mean, that's what we did when we first started. Our first business was some pottery shop, and we shot this like 10-minute video of them doing like an instructional thing about how to make this pot. Extremely boring. We did not really like doing it, but we did it. We learned a lot from it. We moved on, found a little computer repair shop, paid us $500 to do a commercial. So, you got to start off small and eventually you'll get there. It's just, you almost got to prove it to other people by just go ahead and do the work for someone if it needs to be for free, or do spec work. And then you'll get there.
I'm just picturing like an orange teal LUT on a pottery video with like hand transitions.
We actually still have it somewhere on YouTube. I might share it just to.
Yeah, perfect.
Just so
Humble
you can see it.
beginnings, right? Funny. All right.
Thank Thank you, everybody. Thank you for the motivation and the encouragement. I didn't even think of that, but I think it's a great idea. I'm gonna pick up and then do this free job and do a passion to be able to build my career. I'm looking for them. Okay, I'm grateful I joined the meeting today. It's a whole lot for me.
That's awesome. Yeah, and keep us posted. Let us know how it goes. Cool. All right, guys, it's almost 5 o'clock. I'm gonna get back to my family, but appreciate everyone's time. Hope you guys learned something from it. I'm learning a lot from you guys. So appreciate the opportunity to jump on here on a Zoom call.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Take care,
man.
everyone.
All right, we'll see you guys.
Thank you.